I am sitting here with Sherif.
There you go.
Good to see you here.
Yeah, high five.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how context and intelligence are multiplying each other. So instead of just...
We were, at the keynote yesterday, we were trying to explain our view on if everyone has access to the same intelligence, so everyone has access to the same models like OpenAI, Anthropic, whatever it is, what can help a company be different? Because if you have the same thing, I have the same thing, is everything the same? How do we make sure our people and our company can stay relevant and different? And so our answer to that is we believe your context in your organization is what helps you be unique and different. So then you go, oh, well, what's context? Like what's context? Context is your organizational knowledge, your decisions, your risks, your documentation, your ideas, your brand, your marketing. And how do you make that available for AI to use so that when it generates responses, it's unique to your company? So if I want to create a project plan, how do I make sure the project plan is not generic ChatGPT response, but actually something that's unique to my company? And a lot of that is by making sure the AI has access to your company's knowledge, your documentation, and your context. An example, if you like, I was talking to a customer yesterday, and she is responsible for a data center. And she writes documentation for the procedures to go inside the data center. Like when you go in, you have to do this and do that. She was saying, Rovo is amazing and like it's incredible. And I was like, oh, this is good. Thank you. I said, oh, can you show me why it's so good? And she said, look, I'm creating these operating procedures for my team on the data center operating procedures. And it knew everything about me. And I was like, what do you mean? So she opened the laptop and showed me the example. And Rovo had generated a proposal for the operating procedures that had information that was specific to their data center, that was unique with their information and company about where the servers were, and had a picture that was unique on how to get there and all that. And she said, it's amazing. And I realized, Rovo is nice. I think it's good. But actually, most of that value is not because of Rovo, it's because of her context. So someone else in her company has created lots of documentation about the data center and all that. So Rovo was able to use that to generate a very tailored result. She didn't know that, so she thought it was all Rovo magic, but it showed how important context is. I thought it was a really good story where she realized, oh, it's only because Rovo had access to my SharePoint, my Confluence, my Microsoft Teams, it generated a better result. So that was a wow moment there.
So probably a lot of companies are still underestimating the power of their context.
So she was sitting on a gold mine, and she didn't realize that, especially if you're coming from data center going to cloud, all of that context in the cloud can be used as well in what we call the teamwork graph. There's still always the risk to have outdated content and outdated pages. Yes. So how do you address that? So outdated content, stale content is the other one, and then sometimes conflicting content. This document says this, but this document says that. Which one do I use? So where possible, Rovo will use mechanisms such as social signals, like someone in your team created it. And let's say there's two conflicting documents and Anger created one and I created another one. Someone in Anger's team will probably more likely find Anger's documents, not mine. So it'll use social signals to say this network of people access these documents, so you're more likely after this one. For older content, Rovo will often use date and add gravity towards date. So as the articles get older, it'll slowly go down. The challenge there is a document can be old but still relevant. So we'll do things like viewership. Was it viewed more? Maybe it's still relevant and so forth. That kind of stuff. So there's a few techniques, and then many customers are also deploying agents inside their Confluence or their SharePoint, and the agents do some gardening for them. So they'll have agents that automatically clean up content that hasn't been edited for 6 days, or notify the author and say, you created this documentation has not been edited for 3 months. Can you confirm this is still correct? So things like this, So you can use agents to help solve the problem, to use more agents. So like, there's a joke which is like every problem AI creates, you can use AI to solve. Like it's really fun,
Yeah, cool. You talked about agents. We've heard a lot about agents in Jira. So you just released this?
Agents in Jira is now in GA. We also have agents in Confluence as well, in automation as well as chat. And so you can create agents in Rovo Studio, and you can start very simple. An agent can just be like a save prompt. It doesn't have to be anything special. It could just be a save prompt. But agents, you can also give them tools. So you can give them access to update documentation or read things, or knowledge. This agent uses this Confluence space as knowledge, or this SharePoint site as knowledge. And so you have to connect your connectors, so Google Drive, SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, whatever it is. And then you can use your agents to power that knowledge. The agents use all that context with your permission. And the big announcement in Jira is that what we're supporting now is you can now have agents doing many things in parallel at the same time. You know, you hear stories of engineers especially saying, I did some work here, this agent's working for me, I'll come back to that one, I'll go to this agent, and then I'll come back to the other one. And you know, why do they get to have all the fun? You can now do this in your Jira boards. So in your Jira boards, you can drag and drop agents and humans together and check in on them later. And they message you when they're finished, and you can chat to them and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think another topic we could probably talk, I don't know, for days, but with all these opportunities, where do you draw the line with the human in the loop? So,
yes. It's we could talk for years on that one, the days. I think this is a very important topic because you as a company need to decide where do humans add the most value in your processes. And I think in general, there's also like an ethical discussion here on who is accountable for the work that the agent does. So we believe at Atlassian, every agent should be accountable to the person that created it or the person that called it. So if I ask the agent to do something, I'm responsible for making sure the results are correct. Not the agent, I am responsible. It's a tool that I use. I use a tool, I should be responsible for the tool they use, and also the person who created the agent. So we've designed agents in your platform so they have auditability, tracing, reporting on who used it, who's allowed to create it, and what did the agent do. And admins have controls all the way from admin level to site level to space level for agent controls on editing, deleting, updating, who can create, who can update, and that kind of stuff. But it's a very important topic that your teams should be discussing as you create these agents together. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Sherif.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
And
We'll see you next time.
Fine.
Bye.